Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia and welcome back to my channel. We're going to be starting off our Liu Bei Let's Play. This is episode 1. If you haven't watched episode 0 and want to hear about the lore and faction specialty, please go check out that video. But we're just going to be kicking straight off into the game. One thing to show everyone is that we're going to be playing this game on hard campaign difficulty and hard battle difficulty. I am not going to be playing this on legendary for sure. It's just way too hard for me right now. I just want to show you guys gameplay, share some trivia and fact, and hope you guys can enjoy the content. I will, however, be turning on battle realism mode because I personally prefer it. I don't like to see minimap or be able to pause during battle. It takes the immersion off, although the camera restriction is a bit annoying sometimes. Also had the battle time limit at 40 minutes. This just means if the defending force can hold out for 40 minutes, it will be declared victorious. I just sometimes run into this situation, but don't want to have a 60-minute game sometimes. But if I'm on the attack, it's not going to take me 40 minutes. It's not even going to take me 20 minutes. So this shouldn't matter too much. And visors turn off because you have me. And let's go. China must be united.
火尽灰飞，点亮夜色。董卓权倾朝野，奸浊世间。洛阳一片火海，诛灭燕患后，朝野混乱。汉室寝于鸡心之上，但是汉家星火仍在汉室末代宗亲的心中闪烁。刘备与兄弟结义，是要肝脑涂地，匡扶汉室。他们之外，再无人能匡扶汉室。洛阳焚荡，庐舍丘墟。
东贼残暴生灵，百姓岂得安生？
如今董卓千劫天子，挟献帝西投长安。
备无力救陛下于险中。
联军不思进取，你已无法按捺。现在是时候进攻了。
然天下人黄金猖獗，匪盗横行，备必当伸大义于天下，还百姓以太平。
关张二将不忘誓约，愿效命疆场。董卓前途费力，定要制裁此贼。主公，我等今已如破风利剑，但听主公号令。
All right, and let's kick things off. Let's get a few things out of the way. First, you have establish your power. You have to make your way past steel turbines, find a power base to build your strength, and protect Kunrong and Taoqian. This is your first official mission. Liu Bei and his brothers face the Steel Turban Scourge. Engage the following army, general's army in battle. Zhaobo, which is Zhaobo, I guess. It's right here. And the reward is Taste of Victory. For 3 turns, you'll gain 30 military supply faction-wide and plus 5 morale faction-wide. So, let's start by clearing up some of the pens. We don't really need these. Kind of clutter up the screen. And we'll discuss certain aspect of the interface when they come up when I need it. You can add custom pins to mark spots on the map to help you remember things. And you start the game with a few pins that the game give you, which I don't need. On the left side here are the window pop-ups we just saw. Mission issued and establish your power. They grayed out after you've seen them once, and you can right-click to get rid of them. Once again to clear up the screen. It's the one we haven't seen. It's ancillaries gained. Ancillaries are items you can equip to characters. They include weapons, armor, horse, a follower item, and just a gadget that you bring with you, or a book, or a trinket. I guess it's a trinket slot. So everyone starts with randomized list of items that's given to them at the start of the playthrough. They're different each time. The rarity of the item goes from common item to these bronze or rare items to these silver exceptional items, and then there's the gold one, which is called unique items. Let's equip these to our characters, and we can get rid of that. You can open up your characters right here and see, we can see a list of our characters. Our army is right here. If we click on it, you see that you have your 3 generals, each with their retainer. This makes up a unit called army. One army can have up to 3 generals, and each general can have up to 6 retinue units that follow them into battle. Right now we have a full army of 3 generals, each with 4 retinue of units. We'll talk about this when we can recruit. In the game, on turn 1, you're not able to recruit, so we'll talk about it when we get there. Now if we right click on our characters, we open up their information panel. You can see here on the left side of your character is the list of items they're carrying with them. Liu Bei starts out with 双股剑, which is this unique item from the book. It's a gold unique item, very powerful. You see the damage. The damage is spread out in 2 separate categories in the game. There's a base damage and an armor piercing damage. You're doing both per strike, but each unit have armor stats that can block out base damage, but armor piercing damage will go right through that, as well as evasion stat that block each one separately. So damage calculation is done separately for base damage and armor piercing damage, and then summed up after taking away all the evasion and blocking factors. So here's 双股剑, and then the stat boost is listed on the bottom. This is Liu Bei's armor. The symbol here implies that this armor cannot be taken away from the character nor replaced. It's key to note that one of the strength of this armor is that it has minus 15% retinue upkeep. So every unit in your retinue costs money to create and also costs money to upkeep each turn. You can see the upkeep cost right here. So Liu Bei gets a 15% discount on retinues, and if you remember from the episode 1 video, Liu Bei's faction gets 50% militia infantry upkeep reduction. So that adds up to it. So retinue militia infantry gets a total 65% retinue upkeep for Liu Bei's retinues. Here's his horse. You see this is a common item with no ring around it. If you click any of these, you can see if you have any available to replace it. We do not. This is the follower icon. We currently have a professional instructor, which provides instinct and authority and minus 20% fatigue resistance. So Liu Bei as a character is a yellow character, which is a commander. They're all color coded in the game for easier to make it easier to understand. These are his stats. He has a gold highlighted name versus just a plain black, because he has one stat, or at least one stat, that's over 100. Once the bar goes over 100, the stat circle icon will be highlighted in gold, and the bar would a new bar would run on top of the old 0 to 100 bar. So for Liu Bei, you want to equip him with authority stats, because that's the main stat associated with his character. Authority stat for him gives faction-wide satisfaction if he's the prime minister, heir, or faction leader, which he is, because Liu Bei is our faction leader, and provides 16 unit morale to his own retinue. This character does provide authority, but also provide instinct, and the minus 25 fatigue resistant applies to your whole army that you're in. so it's not exactly restrictive, so we don't have to put him on Liu Bei to get this buff. Meanwhile, this character, the merchant, which if you play Liu Bei, will be with your faction at the start of every playthrough. It wasn't on that list of ancillaries we saw earlier. Gives you +4 cunning, which provides extra ammunition and military supply for the army, but more importantly, it provides +10% trade influence, but only if this character is Prime Minister, heir, or faction leader. Since Liu Bei is our faction leader, this buff will be wasted on anyone else who are not these positions. And you notice it's part of a set. Sets in the game are groups of items that, if equipped together on the same character, brings additional benefits. Here, if you have the 9 chapters on the mathematical arts, which we do not currently own, and the merchant equipped on the same character, you'll have +25% trade influence, but only if the character is Prime Minister, heir, or faction leader. We're actually going to equip this item on Liu Bei. The +10% trade influence provides extra money in your trade deals. We're going to be trying to build up our economic base, so we'll keep this on him. Accessories. So we got 2 accessories during the initial round of ancillaries. There's a clay fish, which gives out flat authority stats and satisfaction stats. Liu Bei doesn't have a satisfaction stat because he's our faction leader. He is totally satisfied with himself. And then this book provides cunning again and satisfaction, and enables guerrilla deployment, so on your own retinue. So guerrilla deployment allow you to start your units anywhere on the map, whereas if you don't have it, you have to place your units within a restricted deployment zone. It's useful if the sometimes when the landscape could give you certain advantages, or the lay of the land could give you. It's useful when the lay of the land could give you certain advantages. For Liu Bei, we're actually gonna equip the clay fish because of the authority stats, which only he is specializing in right now. Next, we'll look at Zhang Fei. Zhang Fei is a vanguard unit. They're represented by the color red. Their main stat is Instinct. It increases your melee damage and recruitment costs for the whole army. So for Zhang Fei, he starts the game with his unique Serpent Spear. Does a lot more damage than Liu Bei's weapon. His unique armor, which enables his retinue to have fatigue immunity, means they can run as much as they want and they would not be tired, as well as 5% melee attack rate for Zhang Fei. Common horse, we don't have a better one to replace it. We are going to give him the professional instructor because of the instant stack. So if you see now, he goes up from 30 melee damage to 32% and 8% recruitment cost discount to 9%. We're not going to give him the cunning book. Cunning, the stat, is usually associated with archers since it gives ammunition. Zhang Fei here doesn't have any archer in his retinue, so this will be wasted on him. Next we go to Guan Yu. If you notice, Guan Yu has a 4 here. That's his level, and he's green, which is a champion character, champion excellent duelist. And the stat provides general's health as well as population growth with his administrator. Currently we don't have any administrator slots, so we're not going to spend too much time talking about it. They all have their own unique skill tree. We'll talk about it when one of them level up. This is the legendary blade, Qinglong Mianyue Dao. Oh yeah, if you click on them, you can see what we have, of course. Horses, armor. We have an armor that we got from the beginning, but all the have unique armor sets. And for Guan Yu, he has plus 30% range block chance. We don't have any more followers to give him, but we're going to give him our book Strategies of the Warring Kingdoms, because he has these 2 archer unit who could use the extra cunning and the ammunition boost. Alright, one thing else to note is that if you click on this icon, it shows you the effect panel, which tell you every effect the character has based on all his stat and items. It's quite useful when you want to look at certain categories, like say the effects that you have when you command an army, or just your personal effect, or a whole army effect even if you're not commanding the army, as well as when you're prime minister, heir, or faction leader, effects you give to your own retinue, effects you give to your own faction. Right now Guan Yu is giving us 2 unity. Character, as in like Guan Yu himself has minus 6% recruitment cost for the whole army, as well as when you become administrator. Administrator commanderies is when you become an administrator of a certain commandery. So the key thing here to note is that Guan Yu has a lot of buffs for commanding an army. The commander of the army is the first general slot. Right now it's Liu Bei. He gets extra campaign movement range, which is always excellent. Minus 50% attrition from military supply shortage. So this is your military supply bar. Right now we are at 60, and we are using 40 at the end of this turn, so we'll be at 20. You see the effects. You get more morale when you have ample military supply and higher replenishment. Military supply represent, your food, your equipment, everything you need to bring to war with you. We're losing that 40 mainly because we're in hostile territory. Our characters combined has a +5 effect right now, but there's a -5 because of the terrain we're on as well. So if this goes to 0, our troop would start to suffer from attrition. For Guan Yu, that attrition would be 50% less. He has +5% replenishment. That's if your units gets injured and need to gather up their strength. This makes it faster, as well as 10 morale when attacking. So let's take a look at what the stat is for Liu Bei. Liu Bei's stat for commanding armies right here is just 10 morale when attacking. So Guan Yu as a commander would be vastly superior to Liu Bei as a commander. Zhang Fei as a commander has the same attrition bonus, as well as it's a different one. It's +10 morale when you're in your own territory. And since we don't own any territory at the start of the game, it's best to make Guan Yu our commander. So we're going to do just that. You click on their portrait, and there's an icon here, the helmet icon, which appoints commanding general. You click that, it goes to the first slot. Now the only thing you have to note is that you do waste some action point, which dictate how far you can move when you do the general switch. But given how close the enemy is to us, this is not going to affect us. That is all that we need to do right now, and we can kick off the fight and attack Zhao Bo. Alright, this is the screen showing you the information about the fight. We're the attacking force. We have 1,263 men. Projected casualty is low. They have 721 men. We can see it right here. Zhao Bo has a 55% to be captured by us after losing the battle. His units are peasant spearmen, which are weak peasant with spears, weak peasant with archers, weak peasant with I guess these are hoes. Yeah, they're the hose warriors. We can kick off this battle. We'll be playing the battle because it's more fun that way. I want to show you some battle mechanics. We can also delegate the battle and auto-resolve it. We'll be doing some of this in the campaign, but mostly we'll be trying to fight most of the battles to show you guys tips. Alright, let's get started. Alright, we're loaded into the battle. Let's change the camera angle a little bit. Yeah, it's really weird when you play it with the restricted camera angle from the battle realism setting. But this green rectangle is where our units can be deployed in. This red rectangle is where they are deployed in. You can actually see their deployment here. The white space, aside from this part, that's their deployment zone, are guerrilla deployment. You can put them anywhere on the map, shown by this icon here. So what we're gonna do is actually move up Guan Yu's troops to here. We don't want to be in his archery range, but this will make things quicker for us. Yep. But not too far away from our main forces. So one thing I want to mention is not all these units will be with us after this fight, because this is the default unit that we're given. I'll explain it once we have recruitment. These units, I'm not going to let them join the fight because I don't want them to get any of the experience. This will be our charging force. Let's group them together. You can group forces together with control and the number. So control 1 will make this group 1. They will stick together. You can easily select all of them. You can also use this to lock the group. Means if I switch positions, they'll still look in this formation. Whereas if I don't lock the group, I can change their formation by dragging. See, if you lock it, even if you drag, it's always this formation. So I can drag as much as I want, still same formation. We don't need to lock it right now. We're going to be using this route here. They're our flanking force. Alright, so this is Guan Yu's force. They're going to be coming towards us. This is the enemy general, Zhao Bo. He's level 1. Level 2, and he wants to duel. We'll love that. I'll show you guys the duel as soon as I get our first group to come here. Okay, let's watch the duel. This is the fun part of the duel. Ooh. Alright, so Guan Yu here has one special ability. It's called Blinding Fury. We're gonna use it. It creates a 7.5k splash damage. Wow, look at that damage. Alright, units will not engage on the generals when they're in the fight, but they'll still be fighting the units over here. Our flankers are getting through. We're gonna come here, drag them into the archery, and let's wrap up this duel. Alright, Guan Yu, let's kill them. If you kill them before the timer, which we did, we'll get a big morale boost. You see they're wavering already because their general lost the duel. Alright, let's go. We're getting shot at. Oh, no, Guan Yu, you don't go. You stay here. You fight these guys. Unit 1, charge. Oh, look at that cavalry charge on them. They're ready, routed. They're so scared. They know what's coming. Alright, Guan Yu here is surrounded by enemies. Let's go help your general out. He's injured. He's surrounded all these enemies. Really, without a horse, the generals are a lot worse off. Come save your sworn brothers. And we'll have them mop up these 2 last units. These 2 are getting away, but we'll chase them out. Get on your horse, please. It's right there. Alright, Liu Bei is here. And infantry is here. And Zhang Fei is here. Alright, now they're routing. Get on the horse. Get on the horse. Alright, Liu Bei will chase off this unit. Yeah, we're gonna be chasing to mop up. Oh, they have actually recovered their morale. Now, Guan Yu's on his horse. Zhang Fei can feast on this group. You're good. Alright, they're routing now. Splash damage can also be used inside enemy units. Very effective. We could just end the game right now, claim victory, because all their units have routed. So this white flag without a highlight circle means they will not regroup from this route. Whereas earlier they were away with the red circle, means once they route a little bit away and recover their morale, they can come back and fight you. At this point, they don't fight back. You can just slaughter them all for experience, and it also prevents them from having leftover units on the map. If you don't do it for some larger armies, they will still have most of their men afterward, forcing into another fight. This is most useful when you're sieging and you force them to come out to fight you. What you want to do is kill off all the retinues that are garrisoned in the city, and then without a unit garrison, the city will just automatically fall to you without a fight. What is that? Is that a horse? Just randomly, I think that's a horse. That one of these guys who died, the horse is still alive and running away because we lost 3 of these men. I think we're pretty wrapped up here. Who still has men to fight? Nobody. Okay. It wasn't perfect, but that's the fight. I think what I could have done better is have Guan Yu's men run up to support his general after the duel, or right before the duel was over. That way he wouldn't get surrounded by infantry. So although generals are very powerful with their horse to charge into infantry formations, you don't want to get them surrounded by infantry, because you'll be dying to 1,000 mosquito bites. Guan Yu took quite a bit of damage. In the information screen here, we see how many people everyone killed. None of the units are left on the bottom. They have 0 left. The archer killed 1, and this Ho peasantry killed 2. Meanwhile, our cavalry slaughtered so many, and archers did quite a bit of damage as well, and generals did a lot of damage. He made it to support Guan Yu. He didn't do anything. He couldn't even run up to the battlefield. Probably should have ran these guys up, but I didn't want them to take damage either. Anyways, it was a great battle. A decisive victory against Zhao Bo. Alright, you get loot from finishing the battle, and then you have a choice what to do with the captured troops. You can either ransom and release them for income, and in Liu Bei's case, you get unity points for being, I guess, generous and kind and forgiving. Or you can seize their military supply. We don't need this right now because we're getting that 30. This might be only useful when you are having a long campaign through enemy territory and you're running low on military supply. Replenishment means recruiting them into your rank. We only lost 3 guys. We really don't need to recruit this group. We're just going to be releasing ransom release. We'll be doing a lot of this for Liu Bei because of the unity boost. Alright, we finished that mission, got the reward, and then we're going to get a new mission. To bring peace, Liu Bei marches to claim Yellow Turban lands. Capture and occupy the following settlement: Dong Iron Mine. This is the Dong Iron Mine. It's really close to us. By occupying it, we get the support of the people, 3 turns of +5 public order, plus 25 faction support, faction-wide. Let's quickly look at the ones we haven't seen. We killed Zhao Bo in battle. And then we're going to be attacking the Dong Iron Mine. So to check on the stats of the Dong Iron Mine, you open it up. So in the game, a commandery is, I guess, a region on the map. Dong is a commandery. It's made up of a small city, which is over here. It's another settlement area over here, as well as specialty counties that have unique buildings for the commandery. For Dong has Iron Mine, which is what we're attacking now. You can see the defending force, who owns it. This is who owns it, and this card right here shows you the local garrison. So right now in there are Yellow Turban archer captains, 2 peasant archers, 2 Yellow Turban horsemen, 2 Yellow Turban warriors. This is a much stronger force than the one we fought, even though it has no generals, which is its key weakness. As well as the fact that iron mines are actually, the map when you siege an iron mine is very well defended. Towers in this game, like towers that protect the land, that protect a key position, It does a lot of damage. Very strong game. So for all those reasons, we're going to march to attack. And because we have a superior force and the AI predict that we'll have a decisive victory, I'm actually going to delegate this battle. I actually recommend most of you do this. This will actually save a lot of unit casualty. By taking this fight, it's very hard to do better than the delegate result, which will only be about 100-ish. Basically 100 if you lose about 100 men. And your generals will be relatively healthy. I made the mistake in the first battle of losing too much health on Guan Yu. And if you want to know why it's hard to fight the 661 men, is you can click on the map view to see the map of the battle. This is the Iron Mine. It's a little mountain encampment with 3 gates, each with 2 turrets. And then their men can have an easily defensible choke position at the gates, where you have to siege them out and charge in with your men from the outside. You take a lot of damage just charging in. There is a play style where you can go Dynasty Warrior on this game, since we're on Romance mode, and have the 3 generals charge in and take care of the whole settlement by themselves. But that is a bit boring to watch, and it's not necessary. We can afford to take 100 casualty because we have a few turns where we're not going to be doing too much to replenish. So we're going to delegate. If you're interested in seeing the Dynasty Warrior method of taking this settlement, I'll put a little clip in and show you guys right now. Yep, and welcome to the Dynasty Warrior guide, where we'll be using our 3 generals to kill every single enemy that's defending this mine. So first, this is another playthrough I had, some b-roll I had. If you look at Dome Iron Mine, they have these turrets outside of each of the entrances. The range is highlighted with the giant semicircles, and those 4 in the front will cover all the front entrances. The 2 on the side is the way we're going to be going in, although you have to note that turret right there cover a lot of the path inside the mine, even once you go through the side entrance. Okay, also to note, in this playthrough, Guan Yu's health is pretty much close to full. Our current playthrough, Guan Yu is kind of half health, but this method doesn't actually lose your general much health to begin with, so you can still do it, but we just don't have full health right now in our current playthrough. Probably because in our current playthrough, we used guerrilla deployment with Guan Yu, which I have never done before, so I think it made him have that duel with Zhao Bo much closer to the units, causing him to get caught when he doesn't have his horse, taking a lot of unnecessary damage from the Yellow Turban regular troops after killing the enemy general in a duel. Okay, our plan is to have our 3 generals on the side run directly in. Okay, we want to get them a little bit out of the range. Run them directly into the enemy mine. Go through the front door. Turn on Liu Bei's special ability, the Stone Bark, which provides 100% range block chance. This will help you not take much damage running here. You shouldn't take any damage for the first 30 seconds, but it'll take you a little bit longer than 30 seconds to get through the gates. And even once you're through, don't linger, because remember, one of the turrets on the other side can reach inside and shoot you even after you enter the mine. So you want to get a charge off. The charge damage is most of the damage. You saw how much damage the regular troops did to Guan Yu in our first fight. If he was on a horse, he could do a lot of the charge damage and then ride off. This fight is not easy even with this Dynasty Warrior method, because the enemies have cavalry units, and you can't charge and then run away from cavalry units if they have high speed. They match you in speed, and in this case, Zhang Fei can't even get through the entrance. The cavalry unit got a charge off on him. You think you lost about 1,000 health. Not a big deal. Just try to get everyone together and capture that flag on the top, which would decrease the enemy morale. That's not important. Our goal is not to keep that point. We just want everyone to come inside to fight us on this side of the map where none of the turrets could hit us. And our goal is to just get as many charge and abilities off inside their units to reduce their morale to the point where all the units will rout, and then we'll win the battle. And now it's pretty simple. Don't get caught in large formations of enemy. You can check on the turret range. We're on the right side, this little corridor. Everyone's completely safe. Okay, here they come at us. We're gonna get a charge off at them. This charge wasn't that great because it's into enemy cavalry charge, but we didn't want to take a full cavalry charge, so we did it anyways. The most effective charges you can do is against a clumped up group, like if you had space to run and charge into that clump right now on the map and release our AoE abilities on Zhang Fei and Guan Yu, we'll be doing a lot of damage. But if you see them trying to surround us like this, just run off to the side, find a good opening and charge right back in, and rinse and repeat. And you'll slowly wither them down and win this fight. So you see this charge is not that great. Barely, charge and kill a few people because they were so scattered and they were kind of charging at you. So in that case, don't waste your men. The chance of them getting caught inside the massive units is just not worth it. We don't really want them to be charging at us. We want them to be standing still. They don't have any spearmen, so there's no bonuses for them being braced against cavalry charges. So these sword infantry, I think they're saber, yellow turban saber warriors. Look at this charge. See that? Mowing them down. That's the kind of damage we're looking for. We want to mow them down. Look at that damage. Look at that charge. Okay, now the cavalry is coming in. Cavalry is really the most difficult part of this battle. The archer unit's not going to shoot at you at all because at hard difficulties and above, archer units are set up, AI is set up to not shoot at generals. Not because that it helps you, but it's just to prevent them from wasting ammo. Because ammo is very limited in this game. So if you shoot a highly mobile, very high health general, you're wasting it. Okay, Guan Yu got lost chasing them. I didn't select them earlier. But look at this charge. All right, you charge into a big clump. You're gonna do so much damage to their units, do so much damage to their morale, and then you unleash your abilities inside them, and they're gonna start to be routing. Alright, these cavalries are really annoying. You just have to manage it to not get stuck fighting them. Alright, let's try to get a charge off on some stationary cavalry. It's not gonna be as effective as against infantry, but it'll do some work. They're starting to waver. You don't need to chase any of the red wavering units because you run the risk of running into turret range again as they route towards outside the iron mine. You just want to keep waiting for them to come back. If they keep rallying, alright, these charges are going to do so much damage. Alright, they're so clumped up into getting a free charge. Alright, see now we're getting kind of stuck inside the units. You want to pull them out. But I think they're gonna all rout about now. And they're all so low. Just that cavalry unit is still kind of holding on to morale. Okay, even he's routing. Yep, they're all gonna rout. And that's it. That's the Dynasty Warrior way of doing this battle. You see, if you look at the health now, most of them still have full health. This works really well with Liu Bei being able to block the range damage from the turrets, or else the turrets hits really hard, and they are going to do a lot of damage to your generals. But let's delegate this fight. Okay, so we delegated the fight, and we're gonna see the result. So you see here, we lost 107 men. We captured 100, but settlement capture fights have different options than a field battle, post-battle options. You can either occupy, loot and occupy, and sack and withdraw. Occupy reduces the least population from the location, gives you the least income, gives you faction support, as well as 10 military supply. Loot and occupy does twice the population damage. Population provides bonuses to your peasantry income, as well as general public order impact. But generally, you want a pretty good population. You get a one-time gold boost, as well as 30 military supply. But most importantly, the settlement level will be reduced. So the mines building is level 3, it'll be dropped to level 2. If it's level 2, it'll be dropped to level 1. And if it's level 1, I believe you actually raise it and you can rebuild it entirely. Upgrading buildings is quite expensive in the game, so unless you know you can't hold the land, I recommend to just go occupy. Sack and withdraw, actually you don't capture the settlement. You basically go in, kill off 80% of the people, take all the money, reduce the building, and you actually stay on outside of the building on the map. Clearly we don't want that because we don't have any settlements right now. We're just going to be occupying. This is useful when you are just doing raids on enemy territory and you don't want to take those positions, knowing because you know you can't defend them. So let's occupy. Alright, to bring peace, Liu Bei marched to claim Yellow Turban land. We gain the support of the people. Establish your order. Basically, this is an event. Liu Bei just gets bonus experience for this. And we get a new mission. With the rallying cry, Liu Bei draws more to his cause. Recruit and maintain a total of 17 at the start of the new turn, currently at 15. This is the number of units you have. Right now we have 4 retinues and for each general and 3 generals, so it's 5 units per general group, so 15 units. They want us to recruit 2 more units, and the reward is growing might, which gives units 50% experience as well as 10% replenishment. So replenishment is good. We need that to heal up our army. We saw this. Okay, so these are done. Occupation. We captured the enemy capital. It was the Yellow Turban capital. And now it's ours. See, the Yellow Turban rebellion capital has moved to Udu, and our capital has moved to Dong Iron Mine, marked by this star, because it's our best settlement right now. Alright, so we have a settlement. The turn's not over. There's still a lot to do. We're going to look up here. The shaking hands is our diplomacy icon. The shortcut is 3. You click this open. This is our map. Ooh, actually, one thing. I want to center the map north. Okay, this looks a lot better for me. Alright, diplomacy screen. This is our territory right now. We're surrounded by Yellow Turban rebellions, Huang Shao's faction of Yellow Turban rebellions, the Han Empire. Basically, red represent their attitude towards you is unfriendly. If you look at diplomatic status, this shows you who you're at war with. Basically everyone around you, except for now you have a border shared with Tao Qian, who sees you as a friend. You can also come here to see exactly the actual number of how they feel about you. Dong Zhuo is all the way over here on the left side of the map. He hates your guts. Han Empire don't like you because they're currently his vassal because he has taken the emperor as hostage. Huang Shao is one of the Yellow Turban factions, and these are just generic Yellow Turbans. They're a lot weaker than these special guys, and you see their territories around you. The purpose of coming here is we want to get a trade deal. You start with one available trade deal, and clearly we only have one friend, but let's say we have more friends and you want to see who you can do a trade deal with. You can go into quick deal, and these are the things you can do right now. If you click on trade deal, it'll show you who's available. So you will see Tao Qian. The value of the trade deal is listed here too. You can click on him, negotiate, or you can just right click to go straight to negotiate. When you go straight to negotiate, we can either just straight up sign the deal or negotiate it farther. We're going to negotiate it farther. So you see this deal right here. This is a trade deal. He likes this trade deal. He has +5 positive factors about this trade deal that he like, and there's -2 that he doesn't like. So he doesn't like the idea because his opinion on the idea is -2, but he's scared of our military strength and location, and he likes our trade worth. So it gives a +3. This is a surplus. You see, if we sign it, he'll increase his attitude towards us by 15, but we don't need that. We actually need him to give us more money for the deal because it's in our favor. So what we can do is request him to give us flat payment or regular payments for 10 turns, or give us food, or trade one of the accessory items, ancillary items with us, or trade their territory. We're going to actually ask him for regular payments of money. We can do a comparison here just to show everyone. This is the per turn payment. If we adjust this value up to match the 3.0 over there to make this a neutral deal. Ooh, we went over. Okay, we want to get it down. So each movement is 10% up and down, so they will shift if you just keep clicking. Oh, that just went terribly wrong. Alright, this is taking a while. I could just type it. Oh my god, I'm gonna just type it then. I think maybe 128. Nope, too much. 125 is too little, 128 is too much. 126. Yep, that sounds about right. So you can get 126 gold per turn for 10 turns. Or over here, let's just type it. Let's see if we can get 1,260, which will match this deal. You see how lump sum payments are difficult for AI, because, or at least for Tao Qian right now, because he has only 2,000 gold. But I guess he has a good economy base. You can check how much he can gain. So he's only getting 200 per turn, and he's okay with giving you 126 of it. But not in this case, even though they're the same ratio. I guess he needs the money now. So we're not going to do that. If we propose the deal now, you see that his attitude towards you only goes up by 10, whereas it used to go up by 15. But we're just happy to go up by 10. It's great. Let's do it.
你的提案不错。
Alright, now we get a nice flow of income. We also have a level up situation here. Liu Bei has gained a level. Now we can talk about skills. So Liu Bei has a skill tree here. Currently he has mobility, which gives these buffs. He has a stone bulwark, which is his activate ability. All the active abilities are in the middle, in the first, third, and fifth position. This one gives your units around you 100% range block chance. So you can block all the range damage coming at you with this buff. Very, very powerful. And then you have clarity, which provides line of sight, building upkeep if you are administrator. This one provides running speed for your retinue, as well as morale when attacking. So the tree connects by these lines. So right now we have two options. Intensity, which gives you a mighty knockback, which causes extra damage when knocking back enemies. Helps Liu Bei's charge. It's just on Liu Bei, it's not on his cavalry units that's in his retinue. As well as plus 25 charge speed for his retinue, which is good. On the bottom here, dignity gives instinct stack as well. Enables discipline. It means if I die on the field, my unit will not rout, will not suffer a morale penalty. Also that if they are routing with that red circle with the white flag, they have a better chance of rallying afterward. As well as 5 faction support. There's pros and cons to picking each, but mainly you also want to be thinking ahead. So for Liu Bei, this skill is a definitely must get. Inspiring words. It provides plus 25% melee evasion and plus 33% melee attack rate and unbreakable to the units around you. This is a great buff and unique to Liu Bei as a commander. Most generic commanders don't have this ability. So you want to somehow get there. Both routes are fine. Let's just look at the next skill we can do. If we get either one, this one, flexibility is available. If you go on top route, you get meditation, which enables unbreakable and gives you extra morale when defending, when commanding. So Liu Bei is not going to be our commander anymore. And unbreakable we can also get from our active buff. So for Stone Warwick, we get the range block chance and unbreakable. Down here, you get +1 assignment, which is very useful, as well as 20% range block chance for melee cavalry, which is very effective too, because Liu Bei is being a commander. Melee cavalry units are his ideal matching pair. So we're going to be taking the bottom route, getting dignity right here. We'll look at everyone's tree when they level up. It just saves time and don't have to change gameplay, talk about a lot about it. You notice these green check marks? They show how you harmonize with the generals around you. Liu Bei are great friends with all his generals in his army. Matter of fact, I believe they start the game off as oath thorns. You have to work towards there for regular relationship, but if you checked out our episode 0, you heard the story of how these three become oath thorns. If not, please go check it out. We have our trade routes, we did our generals, we also have our commandery icon, which shows the commandery you own and the available actions, constructions available. So we're not going to be upgrading this. If you want to hear a detailed explanation why we're not upgrading the mine, I also have a video of commandery build guide about Dong. I'm going to be doing one about Taishan very soon. We have used up our action points by taking the city, and you can also see how fast they're replenishing right now. It takes 2 turns to go back to full. Guan Yu takes quite a few turns to heal up. He took quite a bit of damage, but it's okay. And we're just going to be ending our first turn here. We've done everything we need to do. One thing to note is that this orange flag is how much faction support you have in this town. Because you just took it from the enemy, you started out with low faction support, but because of our taste of victory, support from the people buff, we're gaining it quite fast. When it's low, you get public order penalties, military supply penalties, and income penalties. But yeah, we're going to be bouncing back to full 100 next turn. Okay, now it's turn 2. Let's first check out what happened. Character development. So character development are people who are interested in your faction and would like to join your court, and you have the option of hiring them for 1,000 gold under the court panel. Let's open this up. So this gives a lot of information about your faction. This is Liu Bei right now, where your unity is at, where your gold is at. All these government positions are locked. They'll be unlocked once you rank up. Right now we're lowly noble. These are our generals and family. And these two are the people of merit who are interested in joining us. So if you click on them, they always cost 1,000. You can see their stats, their equipments, detailed stats of their damages and evasions and everything, who is currently in their retinue, and if they're able to recruit any special units, and any abilities they have. And then lastly, you see their trait. So he is determined, direct, and quiet. And you can see who they used to work for. Now, seeing who they used to work for is important because sometimes these people could be enemy spies sent to spy on your faction for the enemy. Other times, in the case of Gao Gan, most likely his faction got destroyed and he's out wandering to find a new job. You can also check that he's a sentinel who excel locking down enemy generals or holding a choke point for a long period of time. Best group with retinues of glaive and melee infantry. He is a trader, which is a tagline. Traders are not unique, are generic tagline. You see that Liu Bei is like virtuous idealist, and you gain so much stat. You gain 80 stat by being a virtual idealist. And Zhang Fei here is a drunken brawler. And he gained 60 stats extra by being a drunken brawler. Guan Yu is the god of war, gaining 80 stat. So these are like S tier characters. Zhang Fei is probably A tier with the implied by the stat boost. Jian Yong here is a clerk. That's a generic stat, 15, right? So trader here is a generic one. It does give some stat bonuses you see here, and it's not relevant because he's not going to be our faction leader. But you can also check what each trait gives you with how they harmonize or disharmonize with other people. So for example here, as a trader, he admires intelligence and commands flexibility. And then there's separate ones for these, but we can't see them because we don't own him. He's actually not bad, just because of, if you look at it, he has quiet, which decreases ambition to gain independence as an administrator. So he'd be a reliable and happy administrator. Purple or sentinel units are quite good for assignments because they give you a building cost and construction time discount. Direct gives charge reflect, which is very powerful. Charge reflect basically, if your units are not, if your infantry unit or spear units or any units are stationary and the enemy charge into you, you are considered what's braced because you're stationary. Usually it gives small decrease to the enemy charge damage, but in case of charge reflect, you reflect their charge damage back on their unit, so you're essentially wiping out some cavalry charges when they charge at you. It's a very strong, very strong skill, and it's a passive skill to your whole retinue. Well, actually, I'm not sure if this is to the, yeah, no, I think this is for the whole retinue. Charge reflex is usually for the whole retinue. It's not just for the champion himself. And determine, there's no negatives in his stat, so I actually like him quite a bit. And then we have Wei Yu. Wei Yu is a tactician, or tactician. That's his tagline. He's a strategist as a unit, as a character class. They're not great in battles, but for tacticians, they specialize in range units. Only they can hire crossbowmen. Only they can hire trebuchets. Trebuchets are very powerful in the game. But I also consider a few things. His age. He's 54. He's probably good for us for another 10 years max, and then he might die of old age. So not sure about that. You see his stats, his items. Mainly you want to consider a few things. His buffs. So for generic characters, they have very generic skill trees. Once you get more familiar with their skill tree, by looking at their buff here, you know what part of the tree their skills start from. This is very useful in picking out certain characters for administrative roles or for combat roles, something to keep in mind. Also his relationship. Mainly you want to look at the trait. He has compose, concern, and cunning. Also all positive trait. You don't see any negative things about this. He's a bit old. I'm tempted to recruit him, but it's just too early in the game to spend 1,000 gold and whatever upkeep salary he needs. And we already have a sentinel unit, Jian Yong. You see Jian Yong's trait, clumsy. So this is a negative trait. There is nothing good about this. Fulfilled. He's satisfied, but he's not a good fighter. You lose the 4 instinct, the melee attack stat, but he's formidable. So these two, I guess he's a strong fighter, but he's, just doesn't give a shit. I don't know, but we'll make do with who we have. His salary is 175. He is pretty happy with us. Yeah, okay. And also you can see in the faction panel, you can see your family tree. Liu Bei is single, 29-year-old single man. Dad's dead. Grandpa's dead. That is not true. Dad didn't die at age 56. His dad actually died quite young. He was, with his mom. You can check out the episode 0 for the lore behind here. The character panel shows all the relationship you have. I covered most of these relationships in episode 0. Please go give episode 0 a chance. There's no gameplay, but there's a lot of good information. You can see everyone's that you have met and check out their relationship with other people. I guess Tao Qian is just aloof. But yeah, he's a unique unit. See, he has a unique icon look, and he gains 30 stats by being the sincere jurisdiction. Yep. That explains the faction panel. So this is turn 2 now. We're going to be turning our attention to recruitment. We just checked that out. Let's check this out. They have a new capital, which is right here. Taishan's right here. Taishan has a county of trade port. It's right here. Basically, the yellow turban has moved into there. Alright, so we have our army right now. We open up the recruit. You see that we have slots to recruit new troops. What we're going to be doing is, let's talk about Liu Bei and how we want his troop to look like. I actually want to get the recruiting done in one turn, because I want a full army heading out. We're going to be doing a lot of campaigning, and we want to get everyone to use the buff to get from the mission that we complete. If we complete this mission of recruiting just 2 more units, all our units will get 10% replenishment rate. We want to recruit a full army right now and take advantage of the replenishment rate. So let's take a look at a tab we haven't looked at, which is treasury. We'll look at our finances. On the left, our income. On the right, our expense. Let's pay attention to the unit upkeep. So our army right now, the expense is, you see that 561 from Liu Bei. He's a very expensive retinue right now. This is because Liu Bei has these excellent saber cavalry. They are medium sword cavalry. They're not militiamen, they're trained army. They cost 170 per turn each. He also has the faction unique unit, the E marksman, that normally is unlocked at level 6. That costs 179. And then a regular militia, infantry spearman, G militia, just costs 42. If we open up recruit and look at if Liu Bei wants a new militia cavalrymen, costs 111. But notice here, archers for him cost 21. They're militia archer. This professional marksman, E marksman, costs 179. It does have, much better stats than our archer militia, but one of these units can field 8 of these units. So this guy is just not financially feasible for us right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to be actually filling most of our army with archers, because they're cheap and they're effective. They do a lot of damage. We'll build a better, more fitting army for our generals later, once we have a good base. Right now we don't even have a city. We just have a small county of Iron Mine. We're only making 190 gold from industry. Eventually it'll be 200 per turn. It's not feasible for us to keep this type of army right now. So we can recruit new archers. Let's do that. They're cheap to build and cheap to upkeep. That maxes it out. We want to get rid of this guy. Do not disband him. In the game, if you disband him, you open up an empty slot, but they'll have to go through full recruitment. They have to go from 0 men or 25 men to full. What instead is you want to do is swap unit. You can swap them to another unit you can recruit. So this way, the men just transfers over in a turn, and you have a full unit very soon. So we're gonna change our excellent E marksman to the lowly archer militia. And G militia, although it's cheap, it doesn't really. We're gonna be more specialized with our G militia, and we're gonna be switching these to archers. Well, we're just gonna be spamming archers. Okay, so now we have recruited 2 more extra unit. We satisfied the mission, but we're going to be doing our whole army. Zhang Fei here has just militiamen. Zhang Fei as a vanguard actually want lance cavalry units, or these units right here, but as you can see, they're quite expensive, and we have cavalry units right now under Liu Bei, and they're expensive already. So what we're going to actually do is make him go for archers. As for the other units, I believe the Ji militias are efficient enough to fight against cavalry charges and do well enough in infantry to infantry fight for us to keep them as our main infantrymen. Saber militias are terrible against cavalry charges. They do have a good missile defense with their shield, but we're going to be relying mostly on our saber cavalry to absorb missile fire, as well as take out enemy archers. So we have really no use for saber militias at this point. Even though they only cost 60, which is quite cheap, we're going to be swapping these to more archers. Guan Yu is also going to pick up 2 archer units, and that's our army group. So one thing to notice is that Guan Yu as a green character or champion character, he specializes in the green unit types. So when you look at his recruitment, he has a spear guard unit that other people don't have. These units are shared with everyone else as the basic militia unit. Everyone can recruit militia units of every type, but spear guards, or the more upgraded spear infantry, green spear infantry, the green, will be only recruitable by green champions. E archers are faction unique units. Everyone can recruit them in our faction. Liu Bei is the yellow or champion unit. Oh no, we're not switching. Sorry, we are recruiting. Let's click it off. Okay, so during their swap, you see that he has available to him an upgraded version of melee cavalry, and he doesn't have the spear guard. For Zhang Fei, he has additional upgraded lance cavalry unit that other people can't recruit. Okay, that settles it for our army. We have action point, but we're not going to move, because if you notice how units replenish, the plus sign on the left side, our replenishment rate, you get this anywhere on the map in your own territory. The little man on the right is called mustering. Mustering rate here, see 10% boost in mustering rate, only apply to newly constructed unit. The units we swap, you see they start with 103 and they'll be fully replenished in 1 turn. These guys start at 25. If you don't move your army, you'll have the mustering rate bonus all the way till they're full. If you move your army, you lose this 10% right away. So we're gonna keep them in dome, at least for a few more turns. These take 4 turns. We'll stay around until they're decently healthy, and then we'll march them out to Taishan. There's nothing else we can do right now. We're just gonna end the turn. Alright, we successfully completed our mission to have more units. We're now gonna be even faster at replenishing, and all our units will get extra experience. Alright, new mission. Liu Bei seeks opportunity and necessity in securing territory. They want us to hold up to 3 settlements, including one of the following, which is Langya, Langye, but I mean this should be Langya. Reward is you have increased unity, increased food production for 3 turns. Langya is right here. It's a Han Empire settlement right now. It's a level 4 city, which means it has walls. It also means it has an upkeep of 2 food per turn. We currently just have an iron mine. We produce 0 food. So taking that will actually, or if we take it right away at least, it will really damage our public order, because we will have no food. So instead, we're going to be turning our eyes toward Taishan first. We'll come back to it. No one's going to be attacking Han Empire territory around it. You know, you have Han loyalist Tao Qian down here, and you have Han loyalist Kong Rong up here. So we'll turn our eyes towards the Yellow Turban and Huang Shao. So now we have that mission. You see that the rate here has gone up. It was 4 turns last turn, should have been 3 turns, but now it's only 2 turns. Also, something else to note is that we increased the size of our army, but we managed to keep the cost down. Liu Bei has dropped by 150. Zhang Fei and Guan Yu only went up by 100-ish. So we're actually made our army bigger and cheaper, which is great. Kong Rong has a new faction capital. He has taken the lumberyard here, right here. So much for Han loyalists. I believe that territory starts out being the Han Empire, but no one has the capability to attack a level 4 city right now. So we're fine. There's nothing to do. Let's wait one more turn. Okay, now we're on turn 4, the spring of 191. During the spring season, you have the available every year. You're available to put out a reform. Reform is your tech tree in the game. It's a beautiful tree. It's also color coded by the same as the general classification, the character class, and each one focused on something different. The blue focus on philosophy and trade. The purple focus on infrastructure and economy. The gold focus on government. The red focus on military, and the green focus on agriculture and population. We have a few available tech to us. Others take more buildings or skills to unlock. We'll have a more in-depth video about the tech tree later on. For the purpose of this gameplay, we're just going to be going for this foreign envoy, which will give us 1 additional trade agreement. Trade agreements are the most lucrative way to make money right now, and even in late game, if you can have them, because they are not part of the corruption penalty. And also this unlocks a few buildings for us. You see trade port, fishing port, and coastal trading village. Since we do start near the sea and the Yellow River, we'll be running into quite a few ports, so this tech makes sense there too. So let's just issue this new reform, unlock this tech, and every spring you get a new one, so it's on every 5-turn basis. Let's take advantage of that new trade agreement. Because Kong Rong has taken the livestock farm, we now connected with him, and we can get a trade agreement with him.
进来谈谈吧。
Oh, 4.9. He likes this idea. He doesn't have any negative thoughts about it. Kong Rong as a faction is a mercantile master. He likes trades. He's eager to sign trade agreement even with dislike or untrusted faction. He, he's pretty good with us. We are fighting against the Yellow Turban just like him. Let's get his payments again. Once again, he has a good economy. He's a, mercantile is his class trait or faction trait. We're going to be trading a lot with him in the game. He will be our financial support, our banker to back us. Let's get into 4.9. That's a big jump. So when you have big jumps like this, you see we're at 4.3, right? That's 227. Let's do some typing. Let's say if it's 250, 5.9. So you go up by 23, and you go up by so much on the how they feel about you. So, yeah. Okay, so you can get 236. So you went up, I guess what, from 4.3, you went up 0.6, and you only gained 9 more gold per turn, I believe. Let's go back. Yeah, you only want 9 more gold, so that's 90 gold. So here, when you see big jumps, you can actually consider doing a mixture of both. So you're giving up about 300 gold here, and you can see that you easily can get 300 gold from this. No big jump in oh, there's a big jump right there. Right. So you see that big jump, you're getting 50 more gold, but you're losing 0.5. Okay. So if we do this and we go back to this, can we get, see, we just need to get 5 more here to make that worth it. So let's see if we can get 220 from him. Nope. 215. Almost there. Okay, 214. Yeah, so this, I guess it doesn't maximize it, but it's a lot better than just going for 236. Let's take the deal.
你的提案不错。
Okay, so now our troops are almost full. One more turn. If we move them, we do lose the mustering, but I believe they'll be just fine. We'll get close enough to Taishan to attack it next turn. You see the movement range right now doesn't reach it, but we can stay within our territory. These lines here are roads. You go faster if you follow them. The road goes like this. We'll come to here.
为天下苍生。
See, we're still replenishing, and the town, no one's defending it. There is a local garrison. Yellow Turban garrisons are surprisingly strong. They're People's Warband. Captains are, you know, surprisingly strong units. The more upgraded versions are much more difficult to take. But there's no army around, so we're happy about that. Right now, our movement, we still have quite a bit of movement point. We can just stand here in our regular stance. So there are stances when you move. If you want to move really far, really fast, you can go on what's called a forced march. You gain 50% to your movement, campaign movement speed, or not speed, campaign movement range. But you no longer can replenish and recruit troops, and you arrive in battle fatigued. So it's not great. Do it only when you're desperate to make a location, and you can't attack. So even if you can reach it in one turn, you can't attack till the next turn. So if it's a 2-turn move, it's better to just go in normal. Otherwise, you can use 50% of your total movement to build an encampment. You can still recruit if you're only in your own territory, and you gain additional military supplies. So this is good when you're enemy territory. You have the men, you don't need the replenishment, but you really need military supplies. You're running out and you're at the danger of going to attrition. You can build an encampment. Encampment also build a little fort on the map. So if enemy attack you when you're in encampment, you have turrets to help you defend that fight. Or you can use the ambush stance. This costs 25% movement to go into. You stop moving, you still recruit and replenish your own territory, and you become hidden. And the circle that's surrounding Guan Yu is arranged that if the enemy moves into this circle, you trigger an ambush fight, which is very much in your favor. So since we have extra movement speed we're not using, we're just going to go to ambush mode. You know, crouch down, no one sees you. You can see the percent chance of successful ambushes on the map just by hovering your mouse over it. On you know the highway, plains, 45%. In forest, 70%. You know, it goes up depending on the landscape. I doubt anyone will walk into this right now, which is fine. We have action point we don't need anyway. It doesn't penalize us to go into this stance. Let's look at character development. Let's see. We got 3 more guys. We got Miao Hui, who is, gold here. Means his stats. One of his stat goes over 100. Oh, that's a lie. None of his stat goes over 100. That just means he's a legendary character. Miao Hui. Miao Hui. I don't know who he is. I don't know why he's highlighted either. He doesn't satisfy the condition. That's strange. I'll try to look him up and see who he is. His stats are okay. This one's not great, but if we don't make him the Prime Minister, heir, or faction leader, that -4 doesn't hurt us. But we won't get any of the other buffs either. He's okay. Magistrate. So it's not. He's a normal generic character, I guess. Liu Fan is a famous strategist. He's a Go Master. So Go Master is unique. He gets plus 30 stats by being Go Master. And he's also level 4, which makes him very strong. He's enabled a lot of strategy. He's only 22 years old. He's loyal, great trait. He doesn't want to gain higher office, so it'd be cheap to upkeep. He's satisfied with us anyways with that trait. Charismatic, so he increased ambition to gain independence as administrator, but this one has a decrease, so it kind of evens that out. He does bring public order when he's administrator, which is great, and he's distinguished, which further increases ambition to gain independence as administrator. It's fine. We'll just keep him happy so that he doesn't want to rebel against us. We're going to recruit him. He's level 4, which is normally not the greatest thing, because when you're level 4, you start wanting to get title raises, more salary, you become dissatisfied, but he has loyal here as a trait that helps us with the reduced penalty from higher office. Level 4 allows a lot of formations. We don't have a strategist, we really need one, and he's a unique one by being a Go Master. So we're going to recruit him. There's also Shi Yi. He's a Visor. 15 back to being generic. Yeah, we just got one, so we don't need another one. We're happy here. The one thing you have to notice about Liu Bei starting as a faction, there's a restriction. You start with the biggest and strongest army, but you can only have one army in the field at a time. So even though we recruited Liu Fan, we can't utilize him until we unlock an administrator position or rank up from noble to second marquis, which unlocks new armies. See, army provider goes to 2. Right now we only have 1. To go up, we have to gain prestige points. You gain prestige point through unity, through conquering new cities, through upgrading your settlement. Yep, that's pretty much it. And I'm going to wrap up this episode. There's a lot of game mechanic information in this episode, so we didn't get to play much, but we'll be kicking to full stream, conquering some land, building up our cities, starting next episode. Alright, that's it for today. So please hit that subscribe button, like the video and comment below, and definitely get the notification for when the next episode drops. So thank you guys for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.